Is Ozempic the weight loss miracle that we've all been waiting for, or is it just a bunch of lies? I had to be honest with you. I'm torn. For the first time in modern human history, there is a non-butt leakage, non-addictive type of weight loss medication that works. And make no mistake, the truth of it, the real spill is that this works. It works. It keeps a percentage of your body weight off, according to clinical trials from school public health and the like, because you're on Wegovy, semaglutide, GLP-1 agonist simulators like this stuff, Ozempic. But you guys ain't ready for this. You ain't ready for this if you're not ready for changing your lifestyle habits. Something that I've said for a long time, over my 21 years, my thousands of you guys trained, is the key problem with eating. There's just not enough of you guys beating down my door or other nutrition experts' door. No, I'm torn. So we're going to talk the science. We're going to talk the truth. And I'm going to finally get to you guys and say, hey, should you or shouldn't you? Let's start out with this dude. He seems pretty chill. It's a guy we like to call Dr. Mike. Never heard of him, but let's listen.
Off-label for just weight loss. The pharmaceutical company decided to take the same generic medication found within Ozempic called semaglutide, increase its dosage, and repackage it under a different brand name called Wegovy, and seek...
Once again, Big Pharma. Right? Thumbs up. Power to the people. Let's go, Big Pharma. Doing big things for the people, right?
FDA approval as a weight loss medication to be used in conjunction with lifestyle changes for individuals who are either obese or overweight, but also who have one weight-related diagnosis.
Basically, this stuff is for diabetics. It helps to lower your A1C markers that say your hemoglobin is attached to your glucose. And this one stimulates the increased production concentration of glucagon in your bloodstream, the opposite of insulin. And so it helps diabetics. We'll make a lot of money. We're Big Pharma. We love making money. That's all we love. And then that's what happened. Let's hear more.
After so many people started getting Ozempic prescribed for this off-label use for weight loss, it exploded in popularity, mostly on television and on TikTok, with people claiming that they've lost huge amounts of weight, talking about their successes. And as a result of all this publicity, there was literally a run to doctors to prescribe this medication for them off-label.
And doctors said, hell no, get the hell away from my door. My ethical precedence matters more than anything. You're not gonna turn me. I don't care how big the bag is, right? Let's continue.
In order to help them with their weight loss, which unfortunately ended up creating a shortage, which puts people at risk who desperately need the medication because they have a true diagnosis of diabetes and are not using it for off-label uses. There is a huge rise of misinformation happening at this very moment that we have to fact check.
That's what we're here to do, you guys. Diabetes is very serious. Diabetes is a slow killer. It causes all kinds of, kidney disease. You can have one of your limbs amputated because of oxygen occlusion. You can get congestive heart failure. I know people that have suffered from this long-term diabetic things, but I'm sure that Big Pharma's not thinking like, yo, let's stop making more money. Let's make sure that we don't limit production. Yes, it does work. This stuff will cost you about a rack. So for one dose, about $1,000. If you don't have any more Bitcoin to blow and all the casinos in your area don't want your business because you're too damn good at counting cards, you went online and you dropped gifts on all your friends on that Amazon tour and you got an extra rack in your pocket just burning a hole, you're overweight, you're not a fan of working on your hunger pangs, well, guess what? You're going to think about getting this stuff because it works. What I do on a daily basis is I try to make sure you guys stay motivated. Most of you, especially women, want to come in and talk about weight loss. Guys will do it too, but it's mostly women. Along the way, most of you will say, yo, I'm 180 pounds. It's about to be a hot boy summer. I need to shred about 10 pounds, less than 10%. Less than 5 of you will keep that off over the course of the year. Over my 21 years, less than 5 people have kept more than 25 pounds off, and I'm talking about close to 200 pounds, both men and women. That's the truth. Them's the numbers. It ain't no lie. Most of us with diet and exercise will struggle for the rest of our lives to keep the weight off permanently. Less than 5%. You could even say it's 5 to 20%. Some say that diets work for about 3%. That is terrible. In comes semaglutide. Hold my beer, fool. Here's what we're going to do. According to the AGMC, the American Journal of Medicine, 10% of weight loss for 69% and 15%. Well, 15%, about half the people were able to sustain this over the course of a year. Do the math. This stuff just works. But just because it works doesn't mean you ought to be doing it. That's the truth. Someone might say, I got off this stuff and I gained all my weight back. And I'll go ahead and say, yeah, here's the deal. You all gain it back. Whether you're sticking yourself in the thigh, leg, abdomen, or subcutaneous fat areas with semi-glutide injections like Wegovy, like this stuff Ozempic, you gain it back or not. Because when you stop your diet and exercise, all those old habits never got corrected. All that food looks way too good. All that glutenless bullshit, it tastes terrible. Let's be real. Except, that chickpea pasta, that's all right. The mushroom pasta too, it doesn't taste that bad. But then we remember what full pasta tastes like. We're like, oh wait, I've been starving myself to lose 8 pounds. This ain't the move. And you gain it all back. That's the truth. But if you lose more on the drug than you do with diet and exercise, still going to gain it back, most of it. And the delta's bigger when you just take the injection. You're going to be tempted, but you need the truth. More from the doctor.
This medicine actually works as an appetite suppressant that slows or delays gastric emptying, therefore you feel full and you have less of an appetite. So it's more of an appetite modulator, leading you to consume less calories, therefore losing weight. Not, I can eat
appetite suppressants. Where have we heard that before? 5-Hour Energy is an appetite suppressant. So too are all of the other carnivore diets and the such, because they make you feel full for very different reasons. But that's not bad for you guys. This is actually a way that we can control our hunger. And that's the scoop. That's the problem. All it does is tell your body, yo, we have enough glucagon floating around in the bloodstream. Oh, man. Told you I'm super duper torn.
Because if you eat a lot of food and take this medication that slows your gastric emptying, it's going to make you feel worse and you're going to have more side effects. More nausea, more vomiting, more potential diarrhea and constipation.
All right. And those are some of the side effects. You got your diarrhea, you got your constipation, you have your pancreatitis, you have your kidney issues. Those are in way, way lower percentages. But you do get a little stomach nausea and things like that. Let's go back to this guy.
Because it initially started with some simple observations that doctors made of their patients who were losing weight on Ozempic or Wegovy, and they were seeing that those patients were losing body fat, but they were also losing lean muscle mass. This is not surprising, because the way these medications work is by suppressing appetite, therefore having the patient consume less calories. Anytime you're going to be consuming less calories, you will both lose muscle mass and body fat.
You guys lose weight. You lose weight whether you're just doing cardio, whatever it is, you're not lifting weights, you're going to lose muscle mass. Point blank, period. You could be the healthiest person in the world, right? Just white peaches, kiwi, you're totally vegetarian, eating lentils all day, because those are really low in calories, they're high in fiber, and they're gonna fill your belly up, right? Guess what? You start losing weight. You're not lifting weights though. You're out there hitting the pavement with your pink and gray Asics on. You're pounding the pavement real quick. You dropped 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Guess what you also dropped? Muscle mass. Because you're not in the gym getting after it, lifting really hard. And that's the truth. It's going to happen anyway. Ozempic doesn't do a special job of tearing away your muscle tissues, so you don't have to worry about that at all. What do we have to worry about? Hopefully nothing. Let's listen to this guy from Breaking Points, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. This dude, my twin, right? Johan Hari, got my name.
You look at the figures, that is what people look like in 1979, not a million years ago. You have 300,000 years where obesity is exceptionally rare, and now it's 42% of the population. What happened? That change happens everywhere that makes one change, and it's not where people become lazy or lack willpower or all the other stigmatizing things we say. It's very simple. It's where people move from eating a diet that is mostly fresh whole foods that are prepared on the day to eating a diet that is mostly processed and ultra-processed foods which are assembled out of chemicals in factories. And it turns out this new kind of food that never existed before.
Got to be careful with that. I can go to Whole Foods right now and get lentil Cheetos. I'm eating lentil Takis that are made from chickpeas, picked by a Greek woman who has a hair bonnet on, sewn by a grandmother in some freaking field, you know what I'm saying, in Macedon. And guess what? That's processing too. That's actually really healthy. And the food industry has come a long way. They've gone 180 degrees in making foods that are really healthy, that taste kind of weird, right? But they don't taste bad. So you're still trying to eat them. They're lower in calories, they're higher in fiber. They're putting protein in everything. Yo, you find a protein beer, you're going to make a lot of money. And then you're going to come back and give me my 15% finder's fee because I guarantee it's in the woodworks if it isn't already. That's processing. And you got to be careful about blaming the industry. The industry didn't make us lazy. That was our decision. It was a lifestyle shift to not being adventurous, not being tribal and communal, us being more reliant on what is truly American in eating, which is convenience foods, which is expediency in our eating. We chose that and traded in whole foods, traded in cooking time, having full control inside of our shopping and our cooking methods and practices. That's basically why we ended up getting fat. Not because the food industry lied to us, although they did. They just kind of deceived us. They just said, hey, you guys are lazy. And you know what lazy people like? Marie calendars. And then they put that all up in the aisles and you guys were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, they have French fries in a box? Let me get that. And all of that happened. Our ancestors would have been out there chopping the yams off the tree. They would have been making that. They would have gone out, killed the pig, served it, whatever. It's not all the industry's fault, but let's continue.
Affects us in a completely different way.
Last question for you is, you have personally decided that the benefits outweigh the risks for you personally. Talk about what that balance looks
That's
for,
big.
some of the downsides from your perspective, and then if you could generalize more broadly for adults, how they should be thinking about whether or not this might be.
Oh man, she asked long questions.
For me, you know, if you take these drugs and you start with a BMI higher than 27, your risk of a heart attack or stroke goes down by 20%. And so many of the men in my family have heart attacks. And I tried dieting. My God, no one tried dieting more than me, and I kept getting fat.
If you have a BMI over 27%, your risk goes down by the same amount, he said, or more. That's impressive.
After each of them. So for me, that benefit outweighs the risks, but I'm not, I don't have a high degree of confidence about that, right? And someone could dig up this clip 30 years from now on YouTube when we know that some of the risks I warn about may turn out to be much bigger than we think.
He's like, but I'm not a doctor, don't hold me to that.
And say, well, what a fool he was. And one of them is, when you take these drugs, they radically interrupt your eating patterns. And one of the things that drugs can do is bring to the surface the deep underlying psychological drivers of your eating all along. So for me...
No one likes hearing that. That's boring.
I realized how much I used food to calm myself down, soothe my emotions. And you just can't comfort eat when you're on these drugs. You will throw up if you try to over it. I remember going to brunch KFC, had a bad day, bucket of chicken in front of me thinking, oh, I can't eat this. I'm just going to have to feel bad, right? And now that can be a good thing. Bringing those emotions to the surface can mean you deal with them. But that's a bumpy transition. So,
yeah, that's the key right there. And that's the one that no one likes to hear. You guys come to me and I'm like, they're like, what kind of diet should I go on? And I go, let's slow it down a little bit. We need to get to the heart of a lot of this stuff. Let's go through your lifestyle and see what it is. We need to figure out, hey, you have a work day, a weekend, and an off day from your workouts, and that's where we need to start changing your eating. Point is this, your hunger dominates. When you guys get hungry, all of a sudden your stomach starts to growl. And what we do is very different than what we should do. And what we do is, oh shit, my stomach's growling. My coworkers are going to think I'm poor and I can't afford steak. And yo, my chicken breast is bad because I have a bad... They're going to make you think they're making assumptions about you because your stomach's growling. And so it's like, oh, let me grab a row of Milanos and shove them in my maw. Or let's go ahead and go to the nearest whatever fast food, because you know what? I'm more productive when I'm full. I don't want that 2 p.m. crash because my coworkers are watching, my boss is watching, and the minute they can detect weakness because I'm hungry and sluggish, they're gonna kick me out the door or have that young college graduate swoop up on me and take my job, or I'll lose the conversation at the water cooler or whatever crazy mind-bending gymnastics that corporate America teaches us. Productivity is up here and being hungry is the antithesis of that. over the years I've talked to you, and there is a real kind of aversion to feeling hunger because of stuff just like that. It's almost as if I don't want to think or add stress of picking foods out of my daily life, so I gotta just shove shit in my face to calm down that hunger pang. It's almost really bad because the more options you have, the more for eating, for when to eat, for, oh no, I need to actually pick foods and I can't just mindlessly eat Krispy Kreme, the more anxiety you get. And we're learning in late stage modern society that having any type of angst and thinking about stuff is anxiety inducing, and that's horrible. And hunger makes us think, what do I eat? I have all these options. That's bad, and it's not. Here's the final thought. Be hungry. Be hungry for an hour and a half. Let your stomach growl a little bit. That's your body using just the requisite amount of fat and then telling you, hey, we want to start building up some of this. If I let the hunger go on too long, you might get into a place where now we're thinking about burning amino acids, but just an hour and a half, because that's the amount of time your body says, let's start breaking down food to build up our muscle mass. The more muscle mass I have built up, the more I move. The more I move, the more I can burn in fat calories, especially at rest later on. And the cycle continues. What we do is we ignore our hunger, and our hunger goes, all right, cool. You're going to ignore me, right? Like a petulant ass child. All right, cool. You're going to ignore me. Let's signal to the rest of the body that we don't need that much to eat. And let's start breaking down some of this muscle tissue. And now we're going to signal to the body, we need less to eat. We've broken down the requisite amount of amino acids for glucogenic purposes. Let's drop that metabolism down. Metabolism's lower. We need to move the body less. Now you're less effective in your workouts, in your activities. Your metabolism has dropped because you told your body, I don't need to move a whole lot. You can have some of this muscle. You don't need movement in your life. And over time, that becomes the cycle. All right, I think we've covered it right there. I'm less torn, but I'm still torn. The shit works. But guys, you got to be in the gym. You got to be eating right. And even more than that, you have to find out a solution for your hunger. First, if you come to me and you're like, I want to take Ozempic, I'm not going to say, hell no, like I would to the 90,000 other diets that are out there, or diet pills and solutions that have been around the way since I became a professional 21 years ago. Most of those, 99.9, I say, stay the hell away. This one, though, I'm saying, nah, you're not ready, because we haven't talked about your hunger. We haven't talked about what you do when you're hungry, and I don't see you in the gym enough. Once you guys do all those things, I would have a much harder time telling you stay off of Ozempic or stay off of Wegovy. And that, my friends, is the truth. So I just had to do my due diligence, and I hope you guys picked up some info from that. Until the next one, stay up.